everyone, welcome back to the channel. So you've decided you want to get an old Mercedes. Well, today we're going to be having a look at what you can get from the £3,000. Now, either by choice or inadvertently you've decided that you want to go for the 90s taxi driver look, and you're going to need some essential accessories that you're going to have to budget in. A beaded seat cover and a flat cap, obviously. Now, in my list I've certainly got some options which will help you with that look if that's your thing. I'm going to be having a search on Current Classic, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, and even potentially have a sneaky look at mobile.de, which is the Germany exclusive one. So if you're up for a road trip, or if you're courageous, we'll have a look at a few projects as well. Now, I'm going to be honest, in this price range you're not going to get the most desirable models or engines, but I do have a few models in mind that certainly fit this budget. So in the spirit of the channel, let's see what we can find. So my first option is the W140 S320. And the W140 is the model designation. With Mercedes it's usually a letter and a few numbers. And this is the S-Class of the 90s, so the big luxury saloon. This model ran between 92 to 98. The facelift on these was from late 95, I believe. You can certainly pick one of these up within budget. But would I recommend it? Probably not, unless you're lucky enough to pick a well-maintained one. It will need a decent amount of work. These are at that age where they've been probably neglected for the past 5 years or so, and you'll need to do a bit of maintenance on it, including all of the suspension generally, which can add up to a lot. And this isn't certainly a car you can run on a shoestring budget. A lot of the parts can be expensive. There'll be some in the middle of that scale between those that have been neglected and those that have been well maintained, but you'll struggle to find those, and the well maintained ones are going to be out of budget. But let's have a look anyway. One thing to look out for on these W140s and even the W124s, between 92 and 95, Mercedes used biodegradable wiring harnesses, and with engine heat and age they like to degrade while they're still in the car, and they can cause all sorts of issues with wires shorting out and bad engine running and even completely cutting out. So let's have a search on eBay, and there's this one here, which is a 96 3.2. It's got 132,000 miles on it, and it actually doesn't look too bad. It needs a few little bits, but it's currently on bidding. Not too sure what the reserve is, but these usually sell around the early 2000 mark. So that's not a bad option. On Current Classic, oh wow, you can get an S500 for just within budget. It's a nice champagne colour, black interior, and wow, it actually looks really clean. And it's only done 99,000 miles. It does have some corrosion, but still not a bad option for just under £3,000. I wouldn't recommend these if you're on a tight budget for maintenance. Let's have a look at Facebook to see if we can find anything. Oh, there's one here. Not as many as I thought there would be. There doesn't seem to be many for sale, which is interesting. So this is a late one, 130,000 miles on it. That actually looks quite decent as well. It's only a 280 though, so it's the M104 engine. Good straight 6 engine. It's got the heated seats, black interior, electric seats. Not bad. But only the 2.8. These are a bit on the slow side. Fine for cruising, but it's even got the Parktronic on the front. So it looks like it's got some good options on it. My next option is a W124, which was the mid-sized saloon coupe or estate of the 80s, 90s, basically the E-Class back then. These came with a number of petrol and diesel options, starting at the smallest 2-litre 4-cylinder engine and working its way up to the 6-litre AMG. There's also some diesel options from the 200D up to the 300D, and they even have 4-wheel drive options. I believe the facelift on these was from 1993. All three variants, the estate, the saloon, or even the coupe, are potentially in budget, but you'd probably be looking at the smaller engine options. Hopefully you can get one of the silky smooth 6-cylinders. Let's see what we can find. Let's have a search on Car and Classic. That looks quite nice. Only 60,000 miles. That looks pretty clean. It's not a bad option to just use and enjoy. It's only the 4-cylinder option, but even so. Let's see what else we can find. 250D. Quite a bit of miles. E200 estate. That'll be the 4-cylinder again. '95 saloon with 100,000 miles. Nazarite blue. Really nice colour. It's got a tow hook as well. It's a 300 diesel. Looks relatively clean. It does have a bit of rust. Yeah, it looks like it could do with a bit of a clean, but not bad. Let's try find a 6-cylinder coupe, because that would be my pick. Quite a bit of mileage, but it's a 300 CE. Coupe. This actually doesn't look bad. Quite a bit of mileage though, and some rust it looks like. This is clearly not a coupe, it's a saloon. 145,000 miles. Not bad. Let's have a look on eBay. There's a few on bidding here. This looks pretty good. Not sure what's going on with the bonnet. It might have been painted. Obviously it's got the wrong wheels on it. And looks like someone's been adding bits to the interior as well. That actually doesn't look too bad. 2,250, 140,000 miles. And it's got the 6-cylinder engine. It's not bad at all. This doesn't look too bad. 137,000 miles. Nice. Yeah, that looks pretty good for a saloon. But let's try find a coupe. Anyway, so it looks like all three options are possible, but like I said, you'd probably be looking at the smaller engine variants, but you can certainly probably just about squeeze in the 6-cylinder options in some of them. Certainly the saloon. The CE, you might have to go searching a bit more. The Mercedes 190e is another option. This is the compact saloon of the 80s, 90s, the C-Class basically. I believe the facelift on these was from 1989. Again, there's both petrol and diesel options on these, starting from the 1.8 4-cylinder, going up to the 2.3 4-cylinders, and then you've got the 2.3 16 valve, 2.5 16 valve, and the 2.6 6-cylinder option as well. And then you've got a few diesel options as well. Now, in this budget, you're going to be looking at probably the 1.8 up to the 2.3, or some of the diesel options that are available. Let's have a look at what we can find. There's plenty here. There's one for 1,700, 1,500. Yeah, there's lots of these about. There's a nice red one there. Yeah, you'll be certainly able to pick one of these up within budget. Looks okay, but the front seats are covered. And it does mention that the seats might be a bit tatty. It has done 190,000 miles. This doesn't look bad either. But again, it's got 170,000 miles on it. But you could quite easily enjoy that, and I'm sure you wouldn't lose much money on these, as long as you pick a good one. The This one's on bidding. This one looks quite clean. It's only done 134,000 miles. It's probably a good option. 120,000 miles. This one's got leather seats and it's rusty, and that's white. Yeah, this one will need a decent amount of work. This one looks nice. That actually looks decent. It's done 134,000 miles. It's a pretty good option there. Yeah, you can find plenty of these. So we'll look on Car and Classic. Less than I thought on here. $143,000 miles, 1.8 manual. This doesn't look too bad. It does have a bit of rust around the arches. 147,000 miles. So you can certainly get one within budget. Here's another option. It's probably going to be a bit more of a project because it's 2.6 and it's done 190,000 miles. Yeah, so you can certainly pick one of these up within budget. Again, plenty on here. This one looks like it's got a Cosworth front bumper potentially. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's got quite a few marks on it now you'd have to fix. This looks quite nice. 2,250. 115,000 miles. Good to go with that one. Okay, my final option is the W126. This is the S-Class of the 80s and early 90s. So this is the model before the W140 I mentioned. Again, big luxury saloon, quite boxy. Let's see what we can find. Again, these have petrol and diesel options. There's the 300SD, which is the diesel, and then you only have the 6-cylinder or V8 options. I don't think we'll be able to find a good one in this budget, but let's have a look anyway. There's a 500 SE here. And the rest are our budget. And I bet this is a project. Oh, it actually looks okay. Yeah, quite rusty around the petrol cap. Yeah, project. Rust. There's one for 2,400, 3,200, So it looks like you can get them. Yeah, rust and a few marks to sort out. 139,000 miles. This one actually doesn't look too bad. It's got the usual rust on the front wing. On these, where you need to be concerned with rust is underneath this windscreen. The bottom of this rusts out, so you need to open the boot and have a good look underneath. That's a big repair, because you have to take the windscreen out, get that whole panel welded in, probably paint, and obviously get the windscreen back in as well. But this doesn't look too bad. Didn't spot any rust apart from that front wing. Here's another one for 2,800. Black interior. Yeah, see, this is why this owner's got a picture of the bottom of the windscreen to show it's not rusty there. It's not a bad option, 150,000 miles. This one's gonna be rusty. It's got chrome arches for starters. I'm sure it'll be hiding even more rust. This doesn't look too bad. Looks like a long wheelbase. 173,000 miles. So you can certainly pick one up in budget. I think at a push you might be able to get an okay one, but a lot of them seem like they're rolling projects. Okay, let's have a quick look at mobile.de, which is a German website. Ooh. Nice W126 there, it looks like. There's plenty of 190Es on there. Oh wow, that is rusty. Yeah, this is going to need a lot of work. Again, looks like it's going to need work. It's a manual. It's not bad mileage. 2.6 190E. Yeah, that's gonna need a good cleanup. $200,000 automatic. It's not too bad actually. Couldn't see any significant rust. Looks like there are a few options that could make sense, but obviously you've got to factor in any travel costs, and obviously it'll be a left-hand drive car, and if you're using it here, it's fine once you're used to it. There's a few things to consider if you're thinking of buying one of these. First and foremost, reliability. And what I'd be looking for here is simplicity, and both the W124 and the 190E are great options because they're easy to work on. and relatively cheap to maintain as well. Another thing to consider is potential value increase. Now, in this budget, you're not going to be able to pick the most desirable engine options or interior options, but I think the E-Class Coupe of the era probably wins here. I mean, you just need to look at the values of previous Mercedes coupes and how they've gone up, such as the SEC or the W114 coupe. But even 190Es are slowly starting to increase in value. But in this budget, you'd probably be looking at the 4-cylinder options, and they're always going to be at the bottom of that value range for them. But either way, if you are lucky enough to pick a car that increases in value and you continue to maintain it, you can potentially sell it in the future and have enjoyed it for a number of years without spending too much. Now, another consideration is rust. All of these cars love to rust, so make sure you're picking one that has very little or none at all, because trust me, if you don't take this advice, this channel is going to be proof of what happens. Rust and paintwork is probably the most expensive aspects to fix, and it's not something a DIY home mechanic can do well easily, unless they've got a lot of practice behind them. All of these cars are likely to have over 125,000 miles on them. Now, this isn't a lot for any of these, but as long as they've been maintained well. So what I'd say is make sure you pick a car that matches your abilities. So if you prefer driving the car rather than working on it, make sure you pick one that's been well maintained and needs little maintenance to continue enjoying it. Whereas if you enjoy working on the car as much as you love driving it, or even enjoy working on the car more than driving it, then by all means go ahead and pick any of the above, or even look at projects. What I'm saying is make sure the car you pick matches your aspirations with it, and obviously your ability as well, and any maintenance budget. A few things to look out for is water pump, as with any on any car, brakes, suspension. All of these options have the 10-link multi-link rear suspension, so make sure as you're driving over bumps there's no weird noises or knocks or anything like that. And another good thing to do is make sure you look for a buyer's guide. That way you know the most common areas for rust. For example, on the 190E you'd be looking at the battery tray area, the rear arches, the front wings, jacking points, and these are probably common areas for other cars as well. For me personally, out of these options, I'd pick the CE. I just think out of the bunch it's the best looking and is likely to increase more in value than some of the others. That covers everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any options that I've missed, leave them in the comments below, and if you found this video useful, make sure you hit that thumbs up button over there maybe, up there, whatever. Thank you for watching. Actually, I'm gonna ignore all of the good advice I offered, and I'd pick this W126, the 80s S-Class, and look at it. It's got heated rear seats, it's got reclining rear seats, and it's the long wheelbase version as well. And not only that, it's got the 560 engine, so 5.5 or 6 litre, almost 300 brake horsepower I believe. And more importantly, it's rusty and broken. Look at that. The channel's not called Too Broken, Too Rusty for no reason. This would definitely be my choice. And yes, I am an idiot.